Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope you're enjoying your Friday. And I hope you enjoyed, right when I start this video, that's when a really loud plane decides to fly overhead. I don't know if you can hear that or not. There it goes. I hope you guys enjoyed the hand tool project, the paddle boat. It was was it just like so fast you could hardly see it in that pool, really. I probably could have sped this up by just winding it a lot more, and maybe changing the rubber band would make this thing go faster. I didn't really experiment that. The shot in the video, if you haven't seen the video yet, you gotta stay till the end because there's a lot of excitement there. You're wondering, is it gonna sail or not? Well, I hadn't tested it or anything, so I set up the camera and I wound this up, put it in the pool, was all ready for it, and it just goes put, 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 put. It was a little less than thrilling, but I think I could improve it by maybe having a tighter rubber band and definitely spending more time to wind this up. But I don't know, I just thought that using the first shot and using that reaction would be the one that I would have in the video, so it worked out. But anyway, making this project using hand tools, and I gotta say, I think I've only made one other project on the show using only hand tools, and that was years ago, and the only reason I did it was because our power went out for some reason and I was stuck with no electricity in my shop, and so I thought, hey, this will be fun. I'll make a hand tool project, and I think I made a like a picture stand. You could set a picture in it. And I think that was the last hand tool project I made. As you can tell, I'm not really that skilled with the hand tools. And every time I do use a hand tool, I'm just reminded of these guys. There's a whole, what do you call it? A subset of woodworking people who only use hand tools. And wow, I have like super respect for those guys because it's not easy. It really takes a lot of time to really hone your skills as a hand tool woodworker. And I just don't have that time to devote to it. And every time I'm using a hand tool and cutting with a saw, I just keep thinking, wow, this would be so much easier on my table saw. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'll be doing any more soon. I'm sure I'll do some more hand tool projects. For me, it has to be something simple, and this just seemed like a good project to do, just because there wasn't a whole lot involved in it. So I was looking through YouTube comments. I haven't seen any big questions or anything about the video, but I'm going to check again right now and see, and then I'll get to you guys on the chat here too. Hold on a second. Let me refresh this. So I ran the Beta Breakers last week. If you followed me on Instagram, you may have seen that. That's a fun race in San Francisco. It runs from one side of the city to the other, and there was like 26,000 people in this race. So it's like shoulder to shoulder. Like the first part of the race, you just try to not knock over anybody, I guess. But it was a lot of fun. I finished like 6,200 but most of those people are just walking the race. Not really sure why I mentioned that. Well, I'm just killing time for my comments to pull up. Okay, here we go. Newest first. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention. I had a comment from Tom over at Homecraft Chronicles, also from HGMM. He suggested that for the paddles of the boat here is to use paint stirrers. Those wooden sticks that they give you at the paint store, and wow, that's a perfect idea because then you don't have to resaw the board. That was really a tricky part, is to resaw that board into thin pieces. So I think that those would be perfect. They're like an 1/8 inch thick, and plus they're free. So if you cut them and they didn't fit together right, you just get some more and use them. So great suggestion from Tom. A lot of people commenting about the speed of that boat, and yeah, it was fast. Let's see. Somebody says that if I keep practicing, one day I'll be a handsaw force master. I don't know if I'll keep practicing. I don't even really have an actual real handsaw anymore. I'm looking around because it seems like I might have one, but I don't see it. So I have this one. This is I guess it's this came with a miter. I don't know what you call that thing. It's a miter gauge. It's a little box miter gauge, and you can do 45 degrees. But it came with that, and I like this saw because it's just the right size. The only problem with this saw is that you can only cut down this deep because it's got this lip right here. So if I wanted to cut all the way through a long board, I'd have to get a different saw. But I'm not planning on buying any new hand tools anytime soon. Let's see. I don't really have any more questions on the YouTube channel, so I'll look through your questions. Again, sorry for my pauses here. It's kind of I'm still trying to learn how to multitask at all of these different things going on at the same time. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go. I brought my glasses this week so I can see some of these comments a little bit better. Okay. You can make all the nerdy comments about my glasses probably. Oh, I also noticed I got to be careful scrolling on my phone. I noticed last week on the playback it was making a lot of noise. Okay, looking sharp there. Hey, thanks. Hey, Rob wants to know, have I ever thought of growing a goatee and a mustache like an old-time villain? Maybe to go with the glasses? Let's see. Pantmond wants to know, what are the most useful models and sizes of planes? Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I don't know anything about hand planes. I have 2 hand planes, and I've got a little one and a big one. And I bought that big one a long time ago, and I thought I had to have a hand plane to do woodworking, and I found out I don't really need it. Occasionally I'll use those planes, but maybe just for smoothing an edge of a board or something like that. So yeah, there's plenty of other resources about hand planes. Any recommendation on a good Japanese handsaw? See, I do one hand tool video, and now I'm the hand tool expert here, and people are asking me questions. No, I don't know anything about Japanese hand saws other than that they work on the pull, which is kind of cool. Sid says, I wouldn't mind if you did some hand router projects. I assume you, wait, do you mean with a real router or a hand, like a router plane? I'm not really sure. Maybe it was a joke or not. Sharpening technique, should I send, let's see. Not Only Wood wants to know, should I send you a sticker? You can send me a sticker if you like. I've got lots of stickers that people have sent me, and if anybody wants a sticker, Woodworking for Mere Mortals sticker, I don't think I have any out here handy. But I've got tons of them, so just send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'll send you out a sticker. It's my address is in every one of my YouTube videos in the description. You'll see it there. It's not my actual address, it's a post office box. Okay. Hi, Fabio. Hello from Mars. Wow, see, I got viewers from not only all over the world, but all over the solar system. Uh, Alex Maker. Hi, remember me? Yes, I do remember you from last week. Okay. Joseph says my videos really help them. Thanks, Joseph. I really appreciate that. Father's Day gift ideas. Mitch wants to know if I have any Father's Day gift ideas. Let's see. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything other than a few years ago I made a wooden tie. It's on my channel. It's older video, but I thought it was kind of funny, you know, and there was a time there when they were really popular for some reason. This must have been like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even longer, where for some reason these ads were all over the internet for these wooden ties, and I thought, well, I could make that, and I think the one I made turned out a lot nicer than those store-bought ones. But I think it's a fun gift, you know. It's not like, I don't know, it's not like a Father's Day gift that he would probably actually wear, but maybe one time a dad might wear that to work as a joke. Let me look through some more. Beatles Cuber says, hey Steve, I've been watching since the impossible nail trick. Thank you for your videos. Boy, I gotta talk to you about that impossible nail trick. It's weird because that's my most viral video. I don't know how many views are on, like 18 million or something at this point. And it's just the video that just keeps giving. I mean, it pays off every month. You get a little bit of that AdSense money, and most of it's from that video. But I never planned on that video being anything. I mean, I just thought, I'll shoot this thing really quick. I thought it was a really fun little technique, and then I tacked on this song with it. And now it's been weird watching the life of that video, because it was mostly comments about the nail through the wood trick, and now there's these waves of comments that come in about the music. It's an old Pete Seeger kind of protest song from the early 60s, and but most of the comments are about that, and it's just got, I don't know, the comments just got kind of out of control on that video. It's crazy, but it's a fun video. It's a fun little technique, a little project. A lot of people think that it's fake on there. They watch that video and they just say fake, fake, and it's not. It's just wood squeezed after boiling it in water. Okay, I'm gonna scroll through some of these and see if I can catch up a little bit. Am I gonna see Beef Chavez wants to know, am I going to see the new Johnny Depp movie? I assume you mean Pirates of the Caribbean? Yeah, maybe not. I've seen only a couple of them. It's not really my favorite series. I do like Johnny Depp in that. I like Johnny Depp in pretty much everything. But tonight I'm gonna go see Baywatch movie. I think that looks hilarious with Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron, a really buff Zac Efron. Let's see. Hey, Andrew says my glasses rock. Well, thanks, Andrew. At least I can read. Let's see. How old am I? There's a question from Ryan. Wants to know how old I am. I just turned 51 last week, 2 weeks ago. Chill Basement Woodworking. Mullet? Yeah, I think I should get a mullet maybe. Or is he asking if I do have a mullet? I'm not really sure. Cristiano from Brazil. Hi, Cristiano. How you doing? Hey, Steve. Oh, from Anmol. Hey, Steve. Are you Gordon's brother? No. He spells his name wrong with an A-Y. Okay, I'm going to scroll through a little bit more of these, try to catch up. Here's Mark wants to know how Wyatt's doing. Wyatt's doing well. In fact, he is home for the weekend. Here in America, it's a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, so he came home last night. In fact, he's probably watching this right now because I asked him if he could moderate comments. And so if he is watching, it'd be interesting to see because I'll say, Wyatt, why don't you come down here and then you can be on video with me. So we'll see if he comes down here or not. I think I can hear footsteps. I think he is. There he is.
You called?
Here's Wyatt. There he is.
Hello.
Home from college for the weekend. So what do you plan on doing all weekend while you're here?
Not much, honestly.
You take some pictures on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm doing taking a photography class, and that's going to be my portfolio. Is take a bunch of pictures of walls.
Well, there's plenty of walls, definitely.
Yeah.
So you have pictures of. You can just take a picture of my wall in here. You know? Take a picture of my spray painted graffiti logo.
Actually, that could be kind of cool. Yeah.
But I think that's a kind of a cool concept for a portfolio piece of just walls.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a neat idea. So we'll drive into the city on Sunday and take some pictures there, and well, you'll take the pictures. What do you think about the paddle boat?
It has such a satisfying noise. Just that little.
It just putters.
Yeah, it putters.
It's not the speediest thing.
Nah. It's not like you'd go off for Baywatch and ride that and paddle out to sea.
But it would be in slow motion if it were on Baywatch.
Well, it already is in slow motion.
And so it would be super slow. There was actually somebody commented on my video. I thought it was a really funny comment. Well, what do you remember that one?
It was something like.
Let me see if I can find that here. I don't know. He's wondering how I was. Oh, it wasn't about the boat. It was about my sanding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He said, "How do I sand?"
That's the one.
How do I sand?
There it is.
Is that the one?
Question.
All right. Question. This is from. I gotta put my glasses on. Bronc Built. Question. How do you cut and sand so fast? And then Max replied, "That's his normal speed. It gets slowed down so we can see it." It's kind of a Chuck Norris kind of thing, isn't it? Sort of.
Except still relevant.
Yeah, I know. Well, so how does it feel to be back home?
Relaxing. I don't have to worry about things.
You still have like 4 or 5 weeks left. 4 weeks.
No, it's like 2. This
weeks?
is the end of week 8, and we only go to week 10.
Right, so middle of June.
Yeah, it's like June 12th, 13th or something, right around then.
Got it. So when you were monitoring the comments, did you have to delete any of them?
I haven't yet, actually.
Oh, that's good, because last week it was like, boo, spam all over the place. Oh, that's good.
More spam than a Monty Python sketch.
Cool. All right. See, what I do here is I've got to... Oh, you're leaving?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Well, you can come back in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just moderating the comments to see if anything happens.
Okay. That was Wyatt. All right. Okay, let's see if I can get back into this. Okay, Wave Cycles asks, Steve, can you or any of the other posters recommend a finish for a reclaimed scaffold board patio table to give it some real character and hopefully longevity? I wish I had a good solution for outdoor furniture, and I went through this last year with my patio table, and I shot a video of that showing how my original stain that was on the video or was on the table, it wasn't stained. Originally I put a clear coat of, I don't remember, urethane I guess it was, and then it ruined and it got all just moldy and it was just horrible. So I stripped it all off last year and I put a deck stain on the table. I figured, well, that should look good, right? Because you use it on the deck, you walk on the deck and everything. I should show you that again, in fact, you want to go see what that table looks like? This is the advantage of this live video. Okay. I'm going to show you what's happened with my patio table because I thought that the deck stain would be a perfect solution. Okay, I'm going to switch this around. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Bear with me here. Okay, here we go. So this is the patio table now, and it's doing the same thing. It's just getting all, I don't know, dark. I don't think it's mold on it now. Well, maybe over here, I don't know. It's just dark and icky looking. And it's only on the horizontal surfaces. Well, it's not looking too good under there either. But that's what's been going on with the table. Let me switch this back around. And hang on a second. I've got this. There we go. I had the little filters pulled up and they were blocking the screen. Okay, so anyways, to get back to that question, that was kind of a long way to go just for to answer the question. I wish I had a good solution. I know some people like to use urethane or the spar urethane, which I've also used. Same thing. I haven't had good luck with that. There's like some marine finishes you can use it. They put on boats. I think that's probably the ultimate solution you're going to have for outdoor furniture. But that table, I'm going to clean it off again, and I'm going to paint it. I'm just going to paint it because really nothing protects better than paint outdoors, I think. The redwood doormat looks good. I'm still using that all the time. You want to go take a look at that? Okay. Hang on a second. I'm going to take this back off here. All right. This time I can flip that over this way. Okay, here we go. Oh, hey, did you guys see the planting out here? Remember I was showing you we were doing all that. We've got the succulents planted in there. We're going to put some rocks in between all of those. But anyways, here's the doormat. That was a project that I made early on in the show, and works out great. We had that. I think I made that probably in the first couple years of the show, maybe back in 2010 or so. And I don't know, it's never had any problems, never fallen apart. So there was it was a good question because that's you've been around a while if you remember that project. Okay. Let me scroll down, see if I can catch up a little bit. Somebody suggested clear lacquer for the outdoor table. I think that might work. I'm not really sure if lacquer is a good outdoor finish or not. I don't know. I need to get some more. I need to get some better options for outdoor furniture, really. Yeah, and here's Chris says, regarding sanding, can you include more screen time dedicated to how you finish your projects? I've seen the 101 videos on this, but want to see more on live projects. Finishing still intimidates me. It intimidates everyone, so you're not alone there. Yeah, I will. I'll try to include some more. Most of my finishing I do, especially, well, for the indoor projects, is almost, well, you probably already know, it's like 95% is lacquer just because it's so easy to use, and I think it gives you a pretty good finish, easy to apply, and it dries super fast. But that's a good idea for a topic. I did have a basics video on different types of finishes. I think that it's easy to overthink finishing and just try to overcomplicate it. I think if you just stick to a couple, you'll be fine. For me, lacquer is my go-to finish, and then I also like Danish oil a lot. Danish oil is really easy to use because it just wipes on. You don't have to brush it on, and then it has the ease of application of like tongue oil, where you just wipe it on and you're done with it. Well, you wipe it on, let it dry a little bit, and you wipe it off. But what it is it's a blend, so it's a mixture of, I think, tongue oil and polyurethane, or some sort of varnish is what it is. So a Danish oil isn't really a true oil finish, it's a blended finish. But anyway, so you get the protection of the polyurethane, the ease of application of the oil finish, and it just looks great. And hey, T-Man's Go-Karts, thank you for the super chat. That was really cool. T-Man's Go-Kart says, awesome stuff, Steve. Here's a little to thank you. I'm glad to be a supporter. Thank you. Thank you for watching the show. I really appreciate all of that, all of the help you guys have. And by the way, next week I'm going to be doing a shop tour live. Anything can happen. You never know when it's live, right? So I'll be doing the shop tour, and I'm taking, if you're on Patreon, I'll be answering any of those people's questions about specific tools or anything in my shop they want to see. So that one I'll be off the tripod for the whole video probably. But I thought it would be fun to do it live, because then I can take questions at whatever it is that I'm showing or looking at. And you know, the shop tours are interesting. I've always enjoyed watching shop tours, because shops change. At least most people's shops change a lot over time. Mine has changed substantially over the past 15 years, I guess, since I set this up. You know, it's just, I go through different phases, and I think it kind of reflects that. Right now, you know, I'm just kind of in this minimalist phase where I just want to have as few things around me as possible, so I can just kind of focus on the work. That's why I haven't really put anything on this wall here. It's just a blank wall, but I kind of like it that way. I think we have this tendency to if we remove something, we have to start thinking about what are we going to put in its place. And I think it's nice to just not think that, just to remove something and just leave it blank. But that's just kind of my philosophy at this point in my life. Minimize things. And by the way, I heard this term the other day called a reducitarian. I don't know if you've heard this or not. And this is like people, and I consider myself this, a person who's not a vegetarian, but just is trying to reduce the amount of meat in their diets. So I don't really know. I guess because I was thinking of minimalism, that's what made me think of that. So reducitarian. Okay, let me get back to these questions. Patrick's Workshop. Yeah, Patrick says marine spar varnish or paint for the outdoor finishing. Yeah, it seems like I've used marine spar varnish. I'm trying to think if I used it on my potting bench, and I guess it did work. I certainly don't have mold growing on it. I don't know if this is a typo or not, but it's funny. Christoph says the best finish for outdoor is a good thick coat of roof over it. Or roof. People usually laugh at the way I say roof or roof, because I'm not sure if it's supposed to be roof or roof. Ray says that his grandfather made one of those boats when he was young back in 1986. He feels like he's getting old. Yeah, these have been around for a while. And I should also mention that if you are going to make one of these, if you want to make it even simpler, you don't have to cut out the center part. Is just cut a notch down here. Just leave this part open, and it works great. The other thing I've noticed is, and when I was starting to tighten this thing up and play with it, is to realize that you really want to make sure that you've got plenty of space around here, because this thing moves around quite a bit in there, and I think it would get caught. Okay, let's go through some more comments. Eva Maria says boat lacquer is so expensive. Yeah, I think that's probably the case with a lot of those outdoor lacquers and urethanes. And Falcon Crocker wants to know if I use treated wood on the table. No, it's just redwood. But usually redwood works out well outdoors. I don't know, it's just something about that table. It's just, I don't know what I did wrong with the table. It's kind of frustrating. Freudaro84 wants to know, what year is my truck? That's a 1976 Ford F-150. My dad bought that truck new back in 1976. So it's an old truck. I'm the second owner of the truck, and it literally has about 125,000 original miles on that truck. But I think I'm going to get rid of that truck. Finally, I don't know. I just don't use it that much. I get gas in it once a year. That's how often I drive that truck, because it's just not, it's old. It's not really reliable anymore. It needs work done, like on the carburetor, and I don't know how to do that. And it's really difficult to find somebody who will work on a carburetor and can find even parts for it. So I think I'm going to sell the truck. I'm not even sure how much a truck like that I could sell, how much I could sell it for. I know that every year I get a notice from California. They want me to take it off the road because of the smog, potential in older trucks. So they send me this thing every year. If I want to just scrap it, they'll send me $1,000 check. But I think it's worth more than $1,000 just because it's a classic. Well, it's old. Jimbo says, great job on the garden. Looks great. Thank you. Thank you, Jimbo. Yeah, that's just a start. We still have a lot more work to do in the yard. That was loud. Genghis Khan wants to know if I have anything not made of wood. Nope. Everything is made of wood. Hey Steve, any projects mixing wood and glass? This is from Jose. That's interesting. I'm trying to think if I've ever even done a project mixing wood and glass, and I don't think I have. I'll have to give that some thought. It would probably be interesting, other than just glass picture frames, and David Bunting wants to know if I feel like I need any more shop organization. I think I always feel like I need more shop organization. There's always, no matter how much I organize, there's always pockets that accumulate junk for some reason, and eventually I deal with those, but I don't know. I'm like on a scale of 1 to 10 on organizations, or on being organized, I think I'm about a 6. I'm fairly organized. I sort of like to put things away, but I don't really go the extra mile with that. Like I have a shelf that I put my handheld power tools on. I don't really have a space for them. I just kind of wherever they fit, but they're on the shelf, so it's like halfway organized, but that's enough for me. Or like all of this stuff over here, all these little cubby holes and everything. I don't have a specific spot for anything. It's just wherever there's an empty spot, I'll put something. And then I'll just look through it, kind of scan it visually and find what I'm looking for that way. I think there's a lot better ways to do it, but again, I don't have a lot of time really to organize my shop, and just because of making as many videos as I do. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can scroll through some more. Mr. Good K Table asks, do you have a lot of problems with bad YouTube comments? How is my son dealing with it? When he has to read the sometimes mean stuff people write on the internet about you. It's just part of being on the internet. People are going to be obnoxious at times, but I don't know. You try to get used to it. I mean, you never really get used to it. I just pretty much have like a one strike policy now on my YouTube channel. If I get comments that are kind of snotty, I just delete them. I don't really think too much about it anymore. It's frustrating on this live stream though, because last week it was spam that was on there. People, and it was just cut and paste spam, you know, those really wordy ones. And I was talking to Wyatt about that this morning and thinking, has this ever worked? Has that kind of spam ever sold a single product for somebody? I don't know. It just seems like the least effective way to market anything has got to be spam, but I don't know. People still do it, so it must work. Stan wants to know if I'm growing tomatoes this year. Yeah, I should. My wife is actually. I'm not tending to them too much. She's planted 4 up where I was showing you the table. I'm not growing any tomatoes. Back behind this wall is our outdoor vegetable garden, just because last year we had such bad luck with the tomatoes, and I just think that patch of land there needs to rest. You know, you can't keep using the same ground. So this year I'm not going to plant anything, man. I'm just going to let it kind of do its thing. Right now it's filled with weeds that are like up to here on me, so it's a complete jungle in there. Ryan wants to know what kind of lawnmower I use. I'm not really sure. It was one I got at Home Depot. It's one of those yard machines. I think it's called Lawn Machine or something. All I have is this little patch of grass in this backyard now, and yeah, I don't spend a lot of time mowing the lawn. I should mow it more often because it gets really, really tall. Okay, scrolling. I'm gonna try to catch up here. Wow, I am way behind on these comments. I'm trying to do this quietly scrolling. That's probably making a scraping noise. I hope not. Wow, I am way behind on the comments. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to start from where I am here. Pinac Bert wants to know, do I ever buy rough lumber, and where do I go to get it in my area? I don't buy rough lumber because I don't really want to spend time milling lumber down to usable boards. So I just get dimensional lumber. That's the boards that are already plain, made at 3/4 inch, and you get them at a home center. I get most of my wood probably at Home Depot. Pine boards at least, but the Home Depot near where I live in San Rafael sells pine, but they also sell maple, cherry, walnut, and alder, and poplar, and maybe one other. So they have a pretty good selection of hardwoods, a pretty good variety of hardwoods, but it's not the best selection. They're kind of, a lot of the boards aren't in really that good of shape. But if I'm really looking, if I'm going to build a bigger project and I need a good amount of cherry and I want it to all look consistent, I go to a different lumber yard, Rafael Lumber, which has huge boards. I mean, some of these are like 20 feet tall. And then they'll cut them to whatever length you need and all different widths. But hardwood is just so expensive. It's so I don't use it on most of my projects unless it's furniture projects. I'll use it, and then I try to use cherry because I love the look of cherry, and I love how the older it gets, it just all becomes really dark, and I think it's just beautiful. And plus, as far as hardwoods, it's probably the least expensive, except for oak. I forgot oak. They also have oak at Home Depot, but oak is kind of, I don't know, it's ubiquitous. You see it everywhere, and so it's kind of fun to use cherry. And I think cherry's easier to work with than oak, actually. Oak tends to splinter on the ends, kind of weird sometimes. But no, I don't buy rough lumber. Hey Everton from Brazil. It's just amazing how many viewers I have from Brazil. And let's see. Cole's Animals wants to know if I have any ideas on making a wooden raised garden bed. Yeah, those are simple. Although in fact, let me just take you up to our garden beds right now. We have raised, for our tomato plants, these raised beds. Okay, let me flip this around. Okay, I'm gonna right back up to where we were. So these are really old. I built these probably in 2001, 2002. And here's our tomatoes here. You can see how they're kind of separating. But what I did here is I used pressure treated lumber, and these are just wide boards, and stacked them up. And then on the inside, I don't know if you can see that, there's posts. So the posts just go into the ground, and then the boards I just screwed directly onto that, and then fill it up with dirt. I think to hold these in place, well, I mean, it's not like they're going to move or anything, but I think I had some steel bars also that I ran down into the dirt. Whoops, I'm getting a poor connection warning again. I guess I got to get that. Okay, going back to the shop. I don't know why the Wi-Fi doesn't seem to work in certain spots, although it's still saying poor connection. Okay. I'm still getting a poor connection. Is this coming? Is it working out for you guys? Hey Wyatt, if you're still watching this, come down here and tell me if you're getting a good signal. I need Wyatt here like every time I do this show. That would help out a lot. Here he comes. So what? Does it look all right, or
yeah, it looks fine.
It's not all glitching out?
It was.
Only when now it's stopped. Yeah, it was getting poor connection warning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Answer any more questions here that you saw that were interesting?
Someone, I don't remember the name. I was about to respond to him in the comments, but he wanted to know what video had the Say Hey song. Remember that one from a while ago?
Say hey.
Hey mama, hey mama. Oh.
Oh. Yeah, it was the.
If I remember right, it was the 2012 ornament.
Christmas ornament video, yeah. Right? Do you remember who did that song?
Nope.
I don't remember either. Yeah, that was one of my earliest videos, and I think it got flagged for copyright, and so now it's still up there though. But a couple of my older videos I had to take down because of the copyright. Back when YouTube was new, everybody was just posting everything. We didn't worry too much about using copyrighted songs.
Yeah, which is kind of a thing that happened.
Everybody, and then all of a sudden, everybody was like, "Oh, wait a second! Somebody owns these songs. You can't just go posting them willy-nilly." So now all of my songs are from Almered, who writes those songs for me, which are great. Like Princess Meow-Meow's theme. It's the catchiest song ever. And then the YouTube library. YouTube library has some good songs, but you can hear them on other videos too, so it's not really personal.
Yeah, they can be everywhere.
But I love the music that Per writes for me. I think it sounds really good. It's catchy. It just keeps the beat going on. Okay, let me answer a few more questions and then we'll wrap this thing up here. Okay, scrolling through again. Yay, it's working fine again. I'm catching up with those comments. People telling me that the Wi-Fi was connected again. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is from Jared. Michael Fronte and Spearhead. Right, say hey. That's what it was. I loved that song when it came out, and I wanted to use that in a video, and I just thought it was such a happy song. Wow, I wonder whatever happened to Michael Fronte and Spearhead. Somebody else asking if I'm going to collaborate anymore with Matthias Wandel. He loved the April Fool's video. I'd like to. I think it would be fun. Just because we're just so different. Even though he hates pocket screws, you know. This is a funny thing about that, because he's commented a few times on how, you know, pocket screws aren't real woodworking or whatever, and he's partially saying that, kind of joking, I think. But people have got it into their mind that now whenever I use pocket screws, people will post on my videos, "Oh, Matthias won't like that," and they think like there's a feud or something, but it's not. And I think it's funny, but I don't know. Pocket screws work for me. But anyways, yeah, I think it would be fun to do a video together again, just because we have two totally different types of woodworking. Anthony wants to know, actually he said his son Levi wants to know what the weather is like here. It's chilly today, actually. We're Northern California, we can get some chilly weather. It never gets really hot here, but when I say chilly, it's probably, I don't know, like 65 or so. It's just because we still have the fog layer from coming over the ocean. Wallaby Party wants to know if I could do more planters. You know, I would, but I don't know how much most people would put up with that, because I think I've done so many planters on this show. I think I've done, at least it feels like I've done a lot of planters on the show. And so I kind of have to weigh that about how often I do a certain type of project before I do it again. Anthony wants to know Nashville or Pittsburgh. I've never been to either one, so I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that, but I kind of do like those random questions once in a while. Somebody wants to know, let me see if I can read your name here. Sajupi wants to know, hi Steve, will Wyatt take over your channel after I retire? I think you mean after I die, because I don't plan on retiring. I don't see any real need to retire. I mean, eventually I'll get probably to the point where I'm just so feeble I can't work, but I'll keep coming down doing something as long as I can, or until the day that I just get tired and I don't want to do it anymore. But I don't think that's going to happen, because I love doing woodworking and I love making videos. So, you know, I suppose eventually it may slow down, but I don't know. Yeah, and Sandra Zern wants to know, what was the one project that got me hooked on woodworking and building? I don't know if I can remember any one project, but I can tell you that when I first started woodworking as a kid, I started turning on the lathe. That was really the kind of the first tool that I started using, because my dad just bought a Shopsmith that had a lathe on it. And for me, that was like an approachable tool. It was real creative, and it's like turning on a potter's wheel, you know, making things out of a lathe. Whereas I didn't have to learn, you know, table saw skills or anything like that. So anyways, the first projects I made were lamps. I made a lot of lamps on the lathe. I'm not sure why. It was just a thing that I could do, and it was because the lathe also had this machine, this Shopsmith. You could convert that into a horizontal drill press, and so there was a long drill bit that I could run all the way through the body of a lamp, and I wouldn't have to split it in half or anything. So I made a lot of lamps, and now I hardly ever use the lathe. And every time I use the lathe, I think it would be fun, and I should start using it more, but I never really have any projects specifically for the lathe. And oh, here's a follow-up on Michael Fronte. Jeff says Michael Fronte was just in a concert in Colorado. Well, that's good to know. How's the chessboard holding up? That's Preston asking. And it looks great. It's holding up well. We don't really use it. I don't have pieces for it, so it's sitting in the closet covered up right now. But it still holds up great. It looks great. James wants to know, what do I think about radial arm saws? A lot of people love radial arm saws, and I think you can still buy them. I don't think there's a lot of manufacturers making radial arm saws. For those of you who don't know what a radial arm saw is, it's kind of like a miter saw. I'm doing this like mime. There's the miter saw that comes down, but a radial arm saw comes down and then it's on a sliding thing also. It's kind of like a sliding miter saw in a way, but I'm not really exactly sure how to describe a radial arm saw. But they're great for making dados. I know a lot of people use them just for that, and some people swear by them, but I've never used one. What's the worst injury I've gotten woodworking? I don't want to say lucky, because I don't believe in luck, and I especially don't believe in it when it comes to woodworking. I think it's just a matter of being careful. And so I haven't had any real major injuries. Most of my injuries are, you know, I've scrapes and minor cuts are from just dumb things like running my hand along the edge of a board and getting a huge splinter, which is just dumb. It's like, why am I running my hand along the edge of a board? Or from sanding. I've gotten scrapes on my disc sander here just from my knuckles hitting it. Just, I don't know, I think with the sander, you think, oh, it's not really that much, it's not a really dangerous tool, so you get lax with it, I guess. And so I've got some scrapes, but no, I haven't had any really major injuries woodworking. And I don't think that, I don't think it's difficult to avoid injuries as long as you're just careful and just pay attention to what you're doing. And I always tell people this as far as safety and woodworking is, because I think most people are afraid of the table saw, number one, but really I think the router is probably more dangerous and a little more intimidating. But no matter what you're using, always think about the cut before you do it, before you even turn on the tool. Think about, okay, I've got a board here. Where's it going to be when I start the cut? Where's it going to be when I finish the cut? And where are my hands going to be throughout that entire process? And so eventually it just becomes second nature. And that's kind of what I do now. Well, it is what I do now, but I don't have to think about it as much. I'm not putting this right. I still think about it, but it's more like instinctively, I'm thinking about, okay, where are my hands going to go? And then I do it. So it's just part of my process. And that, to me, that will prevent almost all injuries, is just thinking about where your hands are going to be. And I think most injuries are going to be on the hands, except for the table saw, which can give you kickback injuries. And I have a video on that. You can watch that if you want to avoid kickback. Well, you need to avoid kickback. But the best thing to do is work on the side. When you're running things through a table saw, don't push it right in front of you, work on the side, because if anything does kick back, it'll shoot against the wall and not into your face or anything. So yeah, that's a good question. No, I haven't gotten any major injuries. And let's see. Marcus wants to know what the video I did with Matthias was. It was an April Fool's video we did a few years ago called Skype for Woodworkers, and we each did one. So if you watch my video, make sure you watch his too. So they're kind of the same, and we did a lot of special effects on it. It was a lot of fun. This is Ronnie. This is looks like the definition of a trolling comment. I know it's a joke. Metric or imperial? Which is best? That's like saying, which is better, Republicans or Democrats? But I don't know. As far as metric and imperial, I use the imperial system because it's what I grew up with and I'm in America, but I think that the metric system makes a lot more sense. But I include both, you know, when I make my plans and that sort of thing. Let's see. Harold wants to know if I'll do another parody video like the banana hanger or the 2x4 lumber. He's probably talking about the Man versus Wild. Yeah, that's what it was I did. And Man versus Wood, that was the video I did. I used to do a lot more of those kind of parody videos, but I'd like to do more. Now it's pretty much Halloween is when I kind of do those specialty videos, just because they don't get a lot of views. Mostly people don't like them. When I do the Halloween videos, you can just see the view numbers tank on those things. So I don't know. I just try to do mostly what the audience wants to see in general, and then occasionally I'll do something a little more selfish, a little more self-indulgent, I guess. Alien Covenant, good or bad? Alien Covenant was kind of boring, I thought. I was disappointed in it. Good special effects. And here's somebody just says, from Russia with love. Hello. I would read your name, but it's in Cyrillic, and I can't read that, so I'm not really sure what it says. If Wyatt were down here, he could read it for me, probably. Any plans on doing any CNC work in the future? I don't have a CNC. It would be fun. Oh, Wyatt's he's gonna tell me the Russian name here. Can you read that?
That is Igor Lutoyev.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's Igor?
Igor.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's approximation. You get that little like flat symbol,
right,
which is a soft sound, but you know, close enough.
Thank you. Good. There we go. There's my Cyrillic lesson for the day. Oh yeah, CNC work. I would like, it would be fun to do some CNC work, but a couple of things. I don't really have the room for it. I don't want to build my own CNC because every time I've seen these people building those CNCs, it's just a disaster and it takes so much work to do. I would want one right off the shelf. And 3, I can't really do it for the show. It doesn't fit within the format of woodworking for mere mortals. So it would just be something I would do on my own. Actually, more fun, I think, would be a laser cutter. I think I could make some really fun signs with that. And those don't make for very good videos either. There's really nothing exciting of just watching a laser going. But it would be fun to have one of those. Okay. Okay, let's see. Niripen asks, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Niripen asks, anyone else collaborate on my videos and scripting of videos? No, I do all of the work. I assume you're asking if other people are helping out with that. No, but I'm looking for somebody to help me with editing. So if anybody who's really good at editing and knows some woodworking, contact me and we'll see what we can do. But I do a lot of my, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but I'm doing a lot more scripted stuff now than I used to. Most of my project videos aren't scripted, but if I have specialty ones and like my ad spots, like the Casper and those sort of things, I script all of those, and I find that it speeds things up a lot because I can write like a Casper spot in 20 or 30 minutes. I can write up a quick script and then not have to fumble through what I'm going to say. Just go bam, 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 and say what I'm going to say. Oh, also my basics videos, I script those because it's important for me to organize everything I want to say in those. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up here. Oh, okay. So Anthony, now I get it. He says Nashville and Pittsburgh are the hockey teams in the Stanley Cup. So that's why I had that question earlier. I thought it was just a random question about Nashville or in Pittsburgh. So there you go. No, I have no idea. I don't know anything about hockey. I didn't even know they were still playing. I don't know. I don't watch that at all. Okay, and what's your take on this Shopsmith Mark V? This is from Andrew. I see them on Craigslist pretty regularly. Yeah, the Shopsmith has been making that Mark V for years. My dad bought one when I was like 10, and it was it's that all-in-one tool. You get a table saw and the lathe and everything all in this one convertible tool, and it's a great tool. People who use them love them. They're kind of like their own small little community of shopsmith enthusiasts. The only problem and they're great for small spaces, but the only problem with them is that it's hard, I think, for the workflow, because there's a lot of times when I'm working on the table saw and then I come over, I'll size some pieces, and then I'll go back to the table saw, and I kind of work around the shop at the different stations, whereas a shopsmith, you have to keep switching that tool back every time you want to use the different tool. And so I think that's why they're probably not as popular as they could be, but it's a quality tool. And especially good for really small spaces. Okay, and would I ever make a cat condo for Princess Meow-Meow? Yeah, actually I have one on the channel there. She uses it. It took her a while to get used to it. At first she didn't want to use it. But it's a cat. Yeah, I guess it's a condo. It's not really a condo. It's a tree, because it has levels on it that she goes up to. So I guess a condo is like the one with the holes. But if you want to make a cat condo, you know what to make those out of are those concrete forms that you can get at Home Depot. They're round, real thick cardboard, and that's what they use. They pour concrete in to make pillars and things like that, and so you can use those. That's what they use for those, and just wrap them in carpeting. Okay, quick scrolling. Okay, Jared, Wyatt, can you please ask? Okay, Wyatt doesn't have to ask me because I'm seeing your comment. What's the most difficult project I've ever had? That's hard to even, I don't know. I've made so many things. It's hard for me to think back what I've made. As far as difficult projects, one of the most recent ones I made that was super difficult was a picture frame. You probably saw it. You may have seen it with half-lap joints, and there was just a whole series of squares for 3 different pictures. There was like 3 5x7s and an 8x10, and That was really difficult, and I would never do, I would never do that again, or I would probably figure out an easier way to do it. But that one comes to mind as being a really difficult project. Okay, you guys. Wow, I've been at this for an hour, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Don't forget to join me next Friday for a live shop tour. I'm gonna be doing it at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I'll take you around the shop. If you're on Patreon, don't forget to ask your questions now. You've got all week to ask a question, and I'll get to those, and I can give you guys all a shout out too. And so I'll see you then. Thank you all for watching, and have a great week.